Welcome back to How to Eat Fried Worms by Thomas Rockwell. This is going to cover Chapter 5 and 6 since they're only each one page. Chapter 5, The Gathering Storm. Alan and Joe stopped in the orchard by the pile of fresh dirt. "You think he'll be able to do it?" asked Alan, biting his thumbnail. "I don't know," said Joe. "He can't do it," said Alan. "How could anybody eat 15 worms? My father'll kill me. $50? He ate that one awful easy." "Forget it," said Joe. "If he doesn't give up himself, I'll figure something out. We could spike the next worm with pepper. He'd eat one piece and then another, talking to Tom. Then all of a sudden he'd sneeze, ka-chum! And then he'd sneeze again, ka-chum! And then again, ka-chum, ka-chum! A faint look of panic would creep over his face. He's beginning to wonder if he'll ever stop. He clutches his stomach. His eyes begin to water. Ka-chum, ka-chum! "Billy's awful stubborn," said Alan. "Even if it was killing him, he might not give up." "Ka-chum, ka-chum!" cried Joe. "He falls to the floor. I bend over him. God, I'd say, call his mother. It's the troglodycrosis. His eyes bleed up at me. Ka-chum! "Remember that business last summer," said Alan, gnawing on his thumbnail, "when it was 95 degrees in the shade and I dared him to put on all his winter clothes and his father's raccoon coat and his ski boots and walk up and down Main Street all afternoon? Ka-chum! Ka-chum!" They went off through the orchard, Joe sneezing, sighing, rolling his eyes, pretending to be Billy suffering from a dose of peppered worms. Alan moaning to himself about how stubborn Billy could be. $50? Chapter 6, The Second Worm. Billy sighed. On the plate before him lay the last bite of a worm under a daub of ketchup and mustard. "What's the matter?" asked Tom. "I don't know," sighed Billy. He picked up the fork again. "Does it taste bad?" "No," said Billy wearily. "I just taste ketchup and mustard mostly, but it makes me feel sort of sick, even before I eat it, just thinking about it." He sighed again and glanced at Joe and Alan talking to each other in whispers over by the door. "What are you whispering about?" "Nothing." "Then what are you whispering for?" "Nothing. It's not important, just something Joe's father told him last night." "What?" "Come on, finish up. It was nothing. We'll miss the cartoons." Billy shut his eyes and popped the last piece of worm into his mouth, chewed, gagged, clapped his hands over his mouth, gulped, gulped, toppled backwards off the orange crate. Sprawling on his back on the chaff, he gazed peacefully up at the ceiling. Joe and Alan stood over him. "Open up." Billy opened his mouth. "Wider. See any, Joe?" "Nah." He swallowed it. "Okay, let's go."